evening, everybody. Wow, thank you so much for tuning in. So many people are tuned in. It's so nice to see everybody. Some faces we even recognized. There was one face I even recognized that had himself named as Chill Zone. That was pretty good. Anyway, we had a session before Chag. The chefs, Uncle Mike Mendel, a famous chef for many years, specifically, he's got lots of experience with Pesach cooking, aside from his all year cooking, and our very own Chef Moishe Schoenfeld was with us throughout the year in the zone, and it does our in-house cooking for all of Oorah events. Unfortunately, this Pesach we weren't zeicher to taste this food, but we got to see a little bit. So there was such a demand after the first day. So we decided on these intermediary days of Chag, we're going to try this again and see how we compare for the second days of Chag. So it seems like on these days of Chol HaMoed, these intermediary days, I know everybody was so busy running around to all the amusement parks and all the special outings that everybody goes on Chol HaMoed. Oh no, not this year. Oh, okay, maybe not. I thought I was the only one. So I guess instead of that, we're here spending our time together, preparing for Chag and making Chag as meaningful as we can. So tonight's cooking show, I'm going to get a little bit of an idea of what we can do for the second day. So the recipes, the menu that we're going to go through today is going to be a typical, what could be a typical menu for a Chag, for a holiday meal. Obviously, there are many different choices and many different ideas. Some people are very particular to have their traditional foods, and that's okay. Anything goes. But we're going to go through some basic ideas and see what we can glean from this. Anybody who wants to get a copy of these recipes that our chefs are going to teach us tonight, feel free to either send an email. We're going to use the same email that we used for the last session, sederprep@oorah.org. That's sederprep@oorah.org. Or very shortly, these recipes will all be posted on all the social media pages, on all the Facebook and Instagram pages. They will be up very shortly. If they're not there yet, they will be there probably before the show is over. Feel free to email or check out those social media pages for your to get a copy of the menu. So tonight we're going to start. We're going to start with Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike is
That's me. I'm ready.
Oh, that's good. Uncle Mike is going to start us off with a Caesar salad. But I'm told, Uncle Mike, the Caesar salad is a little special this time. What's the secret ingredient this time?
Oh, no secret ingredient tonight. Regular Caesar dressing, which we're going to teach you how to make. The nice thing about many of the recipes that are on tonight's show, not just for Pesach, not just for this week, for Yom Tov, and then the recipes aren't good for the rest of the year. These recipes, it's not like the first days we made charoses and maror and the Seder plate. Okay, that was beautiful for Yom Tov and all the explanations. Tonight's menu is stuff that you use all year long, which is wonderful. It's a little different with the Pesach products, but these products are available all year long in chametz. So tonight we're going to start with a Caesar salad. Which basically a Caesar salad is generally romaine lettuce, which many of us have had too much of this Yom Tov, but we use it all the time. Romaine lettuce, peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, all the good stuff. You chop it up, dice it up, make it into a nice salad, and then we make the dressing. The dressing, the Caesar, standard typical Caesar dressing is going to be a cup of mayo, and we're going to put it into little container. We have a cup of mayo. We have a quarter cup of sugar, quarter cup of vinegar. I add just a touch of water because we want to thin it out a little bit so it pours nicely. Maybe like a tablespoon or so of water. A little bit of black pepper. Some garlic. And I don't think my recipe that you're going to get online on the social media has garlic in it. I couldn't find the crushed garlic for Pesach. During the year, I would use a nice heaping teaspoon of crushed garlic or fresh garlic. So for now, I'm just going to use some garlic powder, little touch of salt, maybe like a half a teaspoon of salt. And for the chefs in the audience and those experienced, this is called an immersion blender. Almost everybody has it, but they don't know what it's called. What everybody else calls it, as I learned from my friend Daniel Goldfeder, it's a zhuzher, because it zhuzhes. I asked him to go buy me an immersion blender. He couldn't find one. Then when I was standing talking, what do you mean you can't find one? You can go get one. Everybody has it. And then when I explained to him what it is, he says, oh, you mean a zhuzher? Of course they have it. And we're going to zhuzh the salad dressing. Beautiful. Just a couple of seconds. Nice dressing. This comes in handy when you're making any type of dressing. 87 cents at Walmart. You pour it into the squeeze bottle. You have a cup of dressing. The ingredients I just showed you will fill a nice squeeze bottle. And I have a pre-made salad right over here with some tomatoes, lettuce, cucumbers. You can put peppers. You can put anything that you want into your salad, and just squeeze it over, making a beautiful dressing. See how nicely that comes out? You make little designs, and you could serve it individual for everybody, or you can serve it in a big bowl, pour it over the top. Now, what's very popular nowadays also is chicken Caesar salad or steak Caesar salad, and you'll go to a local store and you'll pay $15, $18, $25 for one of those salads. You can make it at home for a couple of dollars plus the chicken, and all you have to do is take a piece of chicken, put it on the barbecue, put it in the oven on broil, let it get done, dice it up, throw it right into that salad. Delicious. Same thing with steak. Classic steak Caesar salad is tenderloin steak. Because it's soft and you can slice it into little nice pieces. It's delicious. Do the same thing. And there you have a beautiful, nice Caesar salad. And I'm going to pass it back to Rabbi Forster, and Moishe's going to make the next dish.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mayonnaise seems to be almost one of those staples on Pesach, like the matzah, potatoes, and I don't know if next comes mayonnaise or maybe there's eggs in between, but no. What's the main ingredient in mayonnaise
potatoes
anyway?
And onions are definitely higher on the list than mayo. And let me tell you something. Pesach mayonnaise ain't Hellman's. But you got to do what you got to do.
Very good. But I guess if we follow your recipes, Uncle Mike, we'll be okay.
You can never lose.
Except I think by the time we're done, I think you're gonna get us some diet recipes by the time we're done.
And then you'll have to go. That'll be the next Zoom thing. Will be an exercise-a-thon.
Oh, it sounds like you're bowing out. I want the diet.
I can watch it. I definitely.
You're gonna watch it while you're on the treadmill. Fantastic. All right, Chef Moishe. Chef Moishe, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, after salad, what do we got for fish? Can we do something exotic for fish?
We're gonna have a Moroccan salmon today, but before I start, Uncle Mike, I just want to show you something. What we have, it's called a garlic crusher. You put garlic in here, you crush it. Okay, so that's
novel idea
for the millennials. That's for you, but we have such a thing, a garlic crusher. Okay, so what we're gonna do today is gonna be a Moroccan salmon. Moroccan salmon basically is put together from, they did not have onions in Morocco, so we used peppers, we used tomatoes, fresh garlic, some cilantro, and the recipe obviously is going to be on social media and everything.
Recipes will be posted on all the social media pages. That's on Oorah's Facebook page, Toramid's Facebook page, and Get in the Zone, and Chill Zone International, all the Facebook pages that you're familiar with from all the different Oorah divisions and all the different departments of Oorah will have the recipes very, very shortly, as well as Instagram, the Oorah page, the Oorah INC, More Than Just a Camp, Chill Zone Rocks. All the Instagram pages that you're familiar with will hopefully have those recipes very, very soon.
So what we have over here is the vegetables cooking. We got the tomatoes, peppers. Tomatoes is diced, peppers is cut into long strips. We got fresh garlic crushed in. What we did now, we put in some tomato paste to make it nice and thick. And what we're gonna put in is, by the end, a little bit of fresh cilantro, fresh parsley. You can put cilantro as well. And that is for the vegetable. We're gonna let it cook a little bit over here, and then we're gonna go and do the salmon. But the way we're gonna do
Chef, can I interrupt you for a moment?
Yes.
Chef Moishe, is there a secret to slicing up those vegetables? I don't know. Chefs just have this way of taking this big knife, this big thick knife, and it slice an entire pepper in like 3 seconds flat.
But the way you hold a knife, this is a smaller chef knife, but usually chef knives are bigger. But the way you hold a knife is you hold it like this with 3 fingers over here, 1 finger over here, 1 finger over here. That's how you have control on the knife. The reason why a knife goes round is you should be able to cut, move your hand like this, go on the board. So you can do it like this. I'll show you an easy way how to cut up a pepper. Just do a cut in the middle. You open it up. It's gonna cut perfectly in half. You make 1 cut over here, 1 cut over here. You put in your fingers like this. You pull it out. Your pepper is nice and clean. The whole thing is nice and clean. It came out nice and clean. Nothing goes to the garbage. Same thing as you pull out over here. Beautiful pepper. There's not a lot of garbage. Nothing goes to the garbage. Nothing goes to waste. Now I'm gonna hold my knife like this, and your fingers should always be like this when you hold it up. So your nails protect your fingers so you don't get cut. You just move the knife. You just walk the knife. That's all you gotta do is walk the knife. Okay, so now let's go back. I hope that satisfies you.
Yes, thank you very much. By the way, if I can just interrupt for just another, you're preparing the next thing. If anybody else has any questions on this topic, please, on the menus that we're doing, as much as we can. I don't want to go off the topic too much. If anybody out there has got any other questions for the chefs, feel free to send it to me an email, sederprep@oorah.org, and that for requests for the recipes. But you can also send in questions as well, and we'll get to as many as we can. And we're not going to do a stump the chef, or even if we would, I'm not going to announce that now. I'll do that secretly if we decide. But feel free to send in your questions if you like. Go ahead, Moishe.
So what we're doing now, we're heating up the oil for the salmon. We're gonna drop in a little bit of salt. The reason why we put in the salt is that protects the salmon of getting burned through the pot. The oil and salt protects the salmon. We're gonna drop in some salmon once the oil is nice and hot. We're gonna wait a little second more. You also gotta make sure sear your peppers so that should not burn to the pot. And I believe we're gonna shut it now that it looks done. I'm gonna drop in the salmon first, skin down. I'm gonna let it sit here for a half a minute. And in the meantime, we're gonna take some of the peppers and we're gonna put it on the bottom of the pan. Nice and flat. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip over the salmon. Be careful how you do it, you shouldn't get burned. Give it another 30 seconds.
Is the salmon supposed to let off its own juice at this point?
No, it does not. You just, what you do is you lock in the salmon. You lock in the juice inside in the salmon. You take it out. This is basically how it looks. You put one slice over here. We'll put one slice on the other side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the rest of the vegetables, we're going to put right on top of the salmon.
Oh, that looks like korech. You're going to make a sandwich.
Like a sandwich, we're going to put it nicely on top. Whatever vegetables we have. A little too small the pan, but it's going to do the job. And we're going to cover it nice. Put it into the oven on 350 in a preheated oven for 20 minutes. And your salmon is done. And now we're going to go back to Rabbi Forster to get to the next course.
Oh, now we're going to go to Uncle Mike.
Hey,
Uncle
it's
Mike
my turn.
A vegetable soup. Thank you so much.
Okay. I am ready. Vegetable soup is quite easy. Well, easy for me. And I don't have as much of a explanation as Chef Moishe does. But nice thing about vegetable soup is you could gear it to what you like, the vegetables you like, the flavor you like. It's not automatically one thing. You can make the same vegetable soup in the same pot with the same ingredients and just have a little bit different. You're going to have a different soup every time. So I pre-made the soup, but basically what I use, I always like to use a couple of onions, sauteed onions, get them nice and golden brown, not too dark. And then you dice up any type of vegetables. You have celery, carrots, potatoes, zucchini. In my soup tonight, I also actually put in, I have it boiling already. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. There it is. Beautiful soup. I spilled some on the floor. One of my boys is going to have to clean that up. And I put in some sweet potatoes and some butternut squash, zucchini, regular potatoes. And you let it boil for a couple of hours. You dice it up. You could slice it up. If one time you make it into little tiny small pieces, if you have a little bit more time and you cook it up. If another time you make big slices, you can make big chunks. And you have it a little bit different every single time. Another additive to that would be if you like tomato. There's some people who like tomato. It makes it a little bit more acidic. People might not like tomato. But if you do, you can add in a can of diced tomatoes, a small can, little tiny cans of tomato paste. And as it's boiling, you add that in and mix it up. You'll have a really delicious tomato-based soup. And your spices are also basically the same. Some garlic, pepper, salt, oregano, and basil. And with oregano and basil, you're going to have a totally different flavor depending how much you put in of each. Basil is a little sweeter than oregano. You can go a little heavier if you like that flavor. If you don't like basil, leave it out. If you like dill, put in some a little extra dill. Oregano also. Each one will have a little bit different flavor. You can make it differently each time. And if you don't add any herbs, no oregano, basil, or dill, and you just add some salt, pepper, and garlic, also, again, you're going to have a delicious soup. Now, as with any soup, when you make chicken soup, people think, okay, I have chicken soup, and now I have vegetable soup, or you have split pea soup. Different, not on Pesach, obviously, we don't make split pea soup, but we'll have different soups. But in a vegetable soup, you can always add a nice fresh piece of chicken, a chicken leg or two. You can add marrow bones, some sliced flanken, and let that boil in with your soup, and you'll have a delicious, delicious, hearty soup. You can even make a meal out of it. Pour it over some of those delicious Pesach noodles. You cook them for 2-3 weeks, and they might get soft one day. That's what they tell me. Now, that
doesn't sound like you tried it.
Oh, we've tried it. They have 2 different types of noodles. There's the type of noodles that you boil for 3-4 weeks, and there's the type of noodles that you boil for 3-4 seconds, and you got mashed potatoes. I haven't figured it out, but we try. My chef in Pesach, Chef Yo's got it down to a science. I don't know how he does it. He's got perfect noodles every time. I've tried it at home. I made couscous, Erev Pesach, for one of my meals. It's potato starch, 9 gebroks couscous. Hoping tomorrow it'll be finished cooking because I tried it. Thing is hard as a rock. I don't know. One of these days might be ready.
Wait,
I missed you. I lost you there.
Yeah, I'm here. Does noodles normally have to be boiled?
No, noodles are normally 3-4 minutes. Let me tell you a funny story about noodles. A friend of mine got married this probably 30 years ago. I was a chef at the time, doing some catering, working for Yeshiva, and he just got married. His wife calls me up. She knew I was a chef. I was friendly with them. She wanted to know how to make spaghetti. So I said, all right, I told her how long, hey, she asked me how long to cook the spaghetti for. I said, probably about 10, 12 minutes, depending if you want it al dente or soft. And that's it. She calls me up about an hour later after the fire trucks left. What happened? The whole house is on fire. I said, I don't know. Is there enough water in the pot? And she stops for a second. She says, water? She didn't know when I said to cook the pasta for 10, 12 minutes, she threw it right into the pot on the stove and the thing smoked up and lit a fire. So anyway, some recipes you got to follow a little bit, another maybe give a little more detail to those not understanding it.
I'll tell you what, Uncle Mike, I'm gonna be checking your recipes very carefully. And all those people, make sure you have every detail in there.
I have a trivia question, which I'll answer towards the end of the show. There are two things. More chefs are men than women, predominantly. It's a men's business, but in the kitchen, in the house, it's a women's job. Women's always running the kitchen. She's got all the cooking, except for two things. Two things that a man, all of a sudden, it comes to these two items, and all of a sudden, the man of the house takes over, and he's in charge of those two things. We'll answer that question a little later.
I know. Are we supposed to know what you take charge of in your house, or you want to know what we do in our house?
A little bit. That's because my wife's sitting over there watching. But secretly, I'm the boss. I have her permission to say so.
Okay.
All right. Done. Chef Moishe's on with the next course.
Can I take a guess?
Go ahead.
Or should we wait until later in the show?
Let's wait till later in the show.
You got it. Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Uncle Mike. That was great. Chef
You're very
Moishe.
welcome. We'll catch you later.
Oh, don't go away. Don't go away.
Here. I'm waiting. I think I got schnitzel going in the pot next.
Oh, but we're gonna do a meat first. So hang on with the schnitzel. We're gonna go to Chef Moishe for a meat. And again, before you start, just remember, those who want the recipes, they will be on all the social media pages that you're familiar with, all the different Oorah programs, anyone that you know. It could be the Oorah page, the Chill Zone page, the Torah Mates page, whatever it is, wherever you go, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, they will have those recipes up, as well as an email, seduprep@oorah.org, and we will send you the recipes, hopefully before the show is even over. Go ahead, Moishe.
First of all, Uncle Mike, the noodles that I have, traditional noodles,
Yeah.
that my mother used to make.
Oh, you make them from scratch?
I make them from scratch, yes.
Oh, those are good.
The noodles that you buy, you look at it and it's cooked. So if you put it into hot water, you just dump it into hot water, you take it out right away, dump it into ice cold water, and you have good noodles. That's my experience working with it.
All right. Thanks for that.
Chef Moishe, if I can interrupt for a second, are the noodles that you make, is it very different than scrambled eggs?
Yes, it's more like a blintz, blintz cream. That's the taste.
And what do you put in to make it a blintz?
It has it's eggs, water, oil, and cornstarch. I mean potato starch. Sorry.
You scared me. Well, cornstarch is kitnia, so that's okay for many Svardim, but it's typically not used.
Starch instead, and yeah, it's very simple to make actually.
Okay, go ahead. What do we got for meat?
So what we're having today is going to be a mushroom beef. That's delicious too. I make it for the first day's Yom Tov. I made it with cheek meat, and it was delicious. It was amazing. You can do it with French roast. You can do it with kalachol. You can do it with flanken roast. Any nice, beautiful red meat is going to work with. What we're going to do it is with sliced flanken. What we basically do is we take bella mushrooms and button bella mushrooms. We slice it up, and first we saute some onions, garlic, shallots, and after that's nice and golden, we put in the mushrooms, and that's the finished product that's going to come out. That's how the mushrooms are going to look like. That's the color it should be, nice and soft. What we're going to do now is we are going to stir some meat. What's going to go into the... Just going to bring the camera a little closer so you guys can see what we're going to do. We're going to put in some oil. We're going to put in some oil and garlic into the pot. just a few pieces of garlic, enough. It should heat up. It should get a little bit of taste of the garlic. The garlic is going to roast, and in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're gonna put some spices on the meat over here. Hope you guys can see.
Oh, we lost the camera there. Yeah.
Okay, you got the meat right here. Okay. So we're not putting crazy amount of spices on it because of the mushrooms has a very deep flavor, and you want to stay with that deep flavor. And obviously we added some wine to the mushrooms also. Forgot to tell you that before. So we're just gonna mix some garlic, onion powder, salt and pepper, simple rub. We're just gonna mix it up. And just sprinkle on the meat a little bit. This is a sliced calico, which obviously this takes much faster to cook. In about 1.5 hours on 350, it should be done. Sometimes even less. Between an hour and a half. It should be ready to serve. I'm just gonna flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Just throw a little spices on it, and we're gonna bring it over to.
You know, I just realized it's a good thing that you don't have the calorie count on these items.
No, we don't do that when we have meat.
I think it's a very good thing you don't have it.
Yeah. So we're just gonna braise it a little bit.
Look at that oil in there.
So instead of flipping it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some oil and just throw it on top of the meat. Just like that.
What does that do? Does that make it cook a little faster?
It just you don't have to flip it. While you do it, now you just take it, put it nicely in the mushrooms that we have ready over here.
You're probably, Moishe, are you recommending that everybody touch the meat so hot straight out of the pan with their hands?
No.
Not a good idea. Don't try this at home.
Try this at home. Do it with a fork or with 2 forks. Just make sure you do not burn yourself. We're going to do with the rest of the meat that we have over here as well, which is going to drop it in. As you can see, we have the garlic over here that gives them a taste in the, infuses the taste in the oil. So it gives a better flavor to the meat. We're going to take some mushrooms from the bottom, but we're going to make sure that it has mushrooms on the top and the bottom. We're just going to cover it nicely. And mushrooms from the side over here. Obviously, when you do a roast, it's much easier than doing smaller pieces, but you can do this minute steak, minute roast, which is also very good flavor with the mushrooms. And we'll cover this tightly. Let's get a cover over here.
Can I throw in a question over here? Somebody sent in a very interesting question here. Chef Moishe, you listening?
Yes.
Here's the question. I think I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. The question was, when we did the salmon earlier, you put salt and you put the salmon in the salt so it doesn't stick to the pot.
Right.
The question is if oil, the question was specifically canola oil, but I guess would any oil do the same trick? Could we do oil instead of salt? And I was just going to add to that question: why do we do salt by the fish, but here in the meat you put it into oil?
No, what I do is I do oil and salt. Meat is not going to stick to the pot when you try to sear it. When you try to sear salmon just with oil, it's going to stick to the pot. So you put a little salt so like this, it doesn't stick to the pot. But
okay, and oil? Would oil do the trick for salmon?
The oil itself is not going to do the trick, no.
Okay, so it needs the salt.
You need the salt to hold it back. What I'm going to do now is I took out a playbook of Uncle Mike's cooking from Oorah and TheZone when he made the kugel. Somehow he puts in the kugel and it came out delicious kugel. So what I'm going to do is I just put in the meat. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to have some delicious meat coming out right here. I don't know if you guys can smell this, but this smells delicious.
Oh, just looking at the smoke, I get the idea.
Well,
I'll do you a favor, Moishe. We're not going to give everybody your address.
You're not gonna.
I'm not going to give everybody your home address.
My address is basically in the zone. I'm just like my second home. So what we're gonna do is we take off a little bit of the mushrooms. I'm gonna show you how to plate it. Take another nice piece over here. Put it a little bit on an angle. Get a little bit of mushrooms. Put it on top of it.
Does the meat? Here's a question. Here's a question for you. By the way, reminder: if anybody wants to send in a question, sederprep@oorah.org is the place to send your questions for the chef. Does the meat for this recipe? Does the meat always have to be sliced like this, or can you do it in a roast style?
No, it does not. You can do it on a roast style.
There you go.
It's actually easier to do in a roast style. So you have a little bit of garnish on top, and here you have your beef. Once we do the side dish, we'll show you how to put something in the side over here. But that's your meat right here.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I would advocate anyway for roast style anyway. Just this, why bother slicing it? You just get yourself a bigger piece.
Roast is much easier.
I'm kidding. It all depends on portion size.
Right. Roast is much easier to do, but I wanted to show how to do it in slice as well. If somebody wants to do minute steak, then it's much easier to do it that way if you want to do minute steak. But if you want to do roast, it is much easier to do. You just braise the roast on both sides, and you put the mushrooms in the bottom and the top. Cover it tight. Obviously, if your roast is big, then it needs to cook longer. I would say if you do cheek meat, it has to cook for about 2.5 hours. If you do French roast, I would also say about 2.5 to 3 hours. And the sauce, you basically don't blend. You just take it out. When you're done, clean it off from the mushrooms. Take the mushrooms, put it in a container, put it to the side, put it in the fridge, slice it up. Then take it out. Then after you slice it, just put the mushrooms back in as it is, and that's how you warm it up. And when you plate it, you just put a little bit of the mushrooms on top for garnish, and you get a beautiful dish.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm wondering in general, I don't know if there's a question you want to answer. I should leave this for Uncle Mike. I guess I'll let you guys decide. Is there a trick? Is there a way to know, somebody who's new in the kitchen, is there a way to know when the meat is done? Yes. There is no special rubric of, which meat. What's that?
This is a thermometer.
Oh, I thought that's to fill up your tires with air. Oh.
Yeah, that's how it looks. It's a thermometer. You just stick it into the meat. And this is going to tell you once you are by 180, it means that you are the meat is done. It's fully cooked. That most people go for young stuff. They like it. They don't like it medium rare. Medium rare is going to be about between 120, 140. Uncle Mike, correct me if I'm wrong.
The only point that I think that you might be a little wrong is most people don't like rare meat. Let me tell you something, Moishe. After rare, you might as well just eat chicken.
Yeah, I say the same thing. So by 180, you take it out. Don't let it go above 180. Once you go above 180, then you're going to take it out. You're going to want to slice it. It's going to fall apart. So 180 is perfectly to take it out. You cool it off. You slice it. If you feel you want to have it a little bit more soft, just warm it up before the meal. Put it an hour before the meal. Put it on 200, 225. Let it sit for an hour, hour and a half, and it's going to be nice and soft.
Okay, that's for a weekday meal. Keep in mind, for the holidays, for a Yom Tov meal on any of the Chagim, even if it's a weekday, we're not going to turn the oven on. We are allowed to cook, but we can't turn the oven on or off during the Chag. So the oven or any cooking thing would have to be preset before the holiday.
Right.
Thank you so much, Chef Moishe.
Hot plate as well. Just put
Yes, that's true. Hot plate or any plates have to be will have to be set before the Chag. And now we're back to Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike, I smell schnitzel coming from your kitchen.
Schnitzel has been coming over here. I'm in the middle of preparing it. I just have to clarify one thing. Moishe said I made Kegel Erev Yom Tov. I didn't make Kegel on the last show. I made Kugel. He makes Kegel.
Sorry.
We'll fight that one out.
Right. It's going to ruin the gematria. I understood Kugel is gematria Shabbos, isn't it?
Something like that.
Right.
Hang on, I lost you.
I see you. I hear you. Mm-hmm.
You can see me and hear me?
I hear you. I see you fine.
Okay, fine. I don't know. For some reason, I am not. Okay. I don't know. Somehow I can't see you, but that's okay. If you can see me, that's fine. We'll fix it.
I see you. Just a note, we're a tiny bit behind schedule.
Okay, so I'll go quick, and I could just show a couple of pieces over here.
No, you're good. You're good.
And then we'll jump into next. But we're gonna have chicken cutlets. Schnitzel is chicken cutlets. Now, what we're going to do is take the regular package of chicken cutlets. It comes in usually 3 or 4 pieces, unless you get the giant big packages. Each piece of chicken cutlet, or half a piece, looks like that. It usually has a flap. That little flap we call the chicken finger. What we're going to do is we're going to cut that finger off on the chicken that has it. And then we have a full breast. I should say half a breast. The chicken full breast would be a double piece. And we're going to slice it thin. You can leave it like this. You can slice it thin. If you're slicing it thin, you need a nice sharp knife to be able to do it. You have to be a little careful. If you leave it just like that, if you want a bigger piece, that's called butterfly. When it's like that, we're going to cut it all the way through so I have a thinner piece. And then cut the finger off on that one as well. That one's already a thin piece, so I'm not going to cut that one down. And this one I already cut the finger off. I'm going to cut that in half. And that one's also pretty thin. What we're going to do is we're going to take them, we're going to put them into a pan, an individual pan. I'm going to cut some of these pieces. I want to get more fingers. My grandson Moshe, he loves schnitzel and he likes the fingers. He likes small pieces. So I'm going to cut each one into a couple more pieces. So I'll have some larger pieces and some chicken fingers. Once we finish with the chicken fingers, that's how you make many different items. You could sauce it. You can make buffalo chicken. You make a little chicken with Chinese vegetables, however you like to do it. Then what we do is we take a little bit of mayo, nice spoonful of mayo. Can you see? Because I can't see the picture, so I don't know if you're facing on the camera or not.
Yep, I see you.
Okay, we take about a spoon of mayo and we just mix it in. Toss it over so each piece is coated nicely. A lot of people do this with egg. I always found mayo has a nice flavor. It sticks nice and it holds the coating very well also. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each piece, but first I'm going to wash my hands for a little trick when you're doing schnitzel. I always have a dry hand and a wet hand. The reason why you want to do that, hang on, I got to find a plate. Wait one moment, I'll take a big plate. The reason why you want a dry hand and a wet hand is it's easier, it doesn't stick and clump onto your hands. You'll take 1 or 2 pieces of the cutlets, drop them into the breading, which I forgot to tell you how to make, so I'm going to show you right now. We have some matzo meal, and we have some panko crumbs. These are Passover panko crumbs. During the year, you can use regular panko crumbs. If you don't like the gluten on Pesach, you can only use the panko. which doesn't have any gluten. If you're gluten-free during the year, you get panko crumbs. They work perfectly. I happen to mix the panko crumbs with matzah meal, put a couple of pieces in. And we bread it with the dry hand, push it down. You have a beautifully breaded cutlet. And we'll do that on a few more of the pieces. Take it from the wet hand, a couple of pieces in. Cover them over. This way, when you're doing 2 or 3 pieces, it really doesn't make much of a difference. But when you're doing several dozen pieces, you have a big family, you're doing many, many pieces, it starts sticking from one hand to the other and you get big clumps on the end of your finger. So this is just easier to work with. And as I go along, I'm not going to do them all, I'll do a bunch. Another thing I forgot actually what I was saying with the crumbs, which it's in the recipes that are sent out to, that's on all the social media that Rabbi Forster was talking about. The recipe does go, when you put down the crumbs, we put in a heavy amount of garlic and onion powder to give it that flavor. I personally don't like buying flavored breadcrumbs. I'm not a fan of the flavoring they put into it. I like to flavor my own. So I just put in some garlic and onion. And if you like parsley flakes, you could put in that. Adds a beautiful color to the schnitzel. Once we have them out, you don't want to pile it too high on the plate because what happens is if it sits for too long, the bottom pieces will start to stick. Now I already have oil in the pan that I have heated up. You can hear it start to sizzle. We're going to take a few pieces and we put them down. Beautiful, just like that. I'll put 3-4 pieces in the pot. Like Moishe said, don't touch it with your fingers because if you're not experienced with this, it can get quite hot. And that's not something you want to do with your fingers, touching that hot oil. And then we'll let it sit just briefly. I heated up the oil. What we want to do is we want to bread it and we want to brown it, just a little golden brown on each side. You pick it up, use the tongs is a wonderful thing. You use a fork and you wait just several seconds. You don't have to cook it all the way through. If your oil's hot and it browned up really quick, you can turn it over. And even if it's raw inside, especially if you're not making it, eating it right away, you can cook it up as long as it's coated, it's a little crispy on the one side. You crispy it on the other side as well. And then we're going to place it down in a pan. I layered some paper towel in a pan or on a plate. And you could bake it off in the oven uncovered. You keep your oven at about 350. After you make the schnitzel, we're going to line them up in the pan. And then you can bake it off just to finish it up, which will take about 15 minutes or so to finish it off in a nice and crispy, beautiful color. Okay. I'm going to add something. We were talking about Moishe's meat recipe and the different color. There's not an exact temperature, just to clarify on the meats, because it depends what type of roast you're making. Moishe's making a sliced beef, which is going to have a little different temperature than if you're making a prime rib, which is you want it on a rare or a lighter temperature than you do a French roast, which Moishe made last week. You want it really solidly cooked so it gets soft and delicious on the inside. So it's not an exact science. You just want to make sure that you're safe, that your meat was fresh. So the guidelines definitely say to cook it above rare to, so you don't have any issue with bacteria. I mean, there are a lot of different recipes. Meat and chicken are so wonderful because you could do anything you like with different flavors. My friend, shout out, my friend Chef Moishe, Malamed, he sent me last night a question about a meat that somebody was doing with coffee. They made a heavy coffee cup a thick coffee, and they poured it over a meat, which he and most people have never heard of. Coffee is a tenderizer, and you actually can, if you like that flavor. I personally don't drink coffee. I haven't ever had a cup of coffee, so it wouldn't be my flavor. But if you do like that, you can marinate meat in coffee. Let it sit out. Let it sit for a couple of hours, and then bake it. Coffee and citrus was the recipe that Chef Moishe showed me.
And you're talking about, Chef, you're talking about just coffee beans?
No,
ready-made
coffee. A cup of coffee, like 2 tablespoons of coffee and a half a cup of hot water. Mix it up. Let it
Not
cool.
with milk.
No milk, just plain.
No, okay, I'm just clarifying.
Rabbi,
No milk.
It's a religious show.
No
milk and coffee on the marinated meat. So yeah, so we just it makes a nice flavor with the orange and onions. It's really good. There's so many different recipes that you could do with marinating meat. And we're almost done with a couple more pieces. Here's our schnitzel in the pan.
Wonderful. I want to get some side dishes in also.
What's that?
I want to get some side dishes in also.
Okay, so you know what? You could cut me out. Go over to Chef Moishe because
we'll come back. We will come back to you once this is ready. Just don't leave it on the fire till we come back. I don't want it to burn.
My grandson Noam, haven't seen him in a couple of months. He's down in Florida.
All right.
Noam, Matt,
Noam, say hi to Zadie, and make sure. Noam, make sure if you want your Afikoman present, you're only going to get your Afikoman gift if you call your grandfather. You better call, make sure you say hello. All right, Chef Moishe.
I'm gonna make it fast and make one a little bit long out there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some cubed potatoes, sweet and regular. We cubed it nice and big, so it's nice and beautiful. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our oil and spice and we're gonna mix it up.
Hold on, it looks like you got sweet potato there too.
Sweet potato, regular potatoes, yes. And we got oil, salt and pepper, onion, garlic powder, some paprika, some chili powder, and some red pepper flakes, which is optional. If you don't want it spicy, you don't have to do that. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna mix it up a little bit. Mix it up with the oil, and we're just gonna drop it into the potatoes right here. And we're gonna toss it so it gets nice coated.
Does the recipe online tell you how many what the ratio is for potatoes to the sauce?
Yes, it does tell you, and the recipe is going to tell you exactly how much you have.
Okay. Reminder: social media pages all have the recipes. You can go there. Any one of the social media pages on Facebook or Instagram. Any one of the Oorah programs, the Oorah page, the Torah Mates page, the Zone page. Any one of the social media sites that you're familiar with. We'll have the recipes, or you can email sederprep@oorah.org for the recipes or for questions for the chef.
Okay, so we got the potatoes in the oven. You can put it on 425. It's going to be done in approximately 45 minutes, or you can put it on 350. It's going to take a little longer. Here we have the potatoes ready, done. I did the same trick as I did before. We're going to put it out. I'm going to put it out on the plate just to show you how it looks like. We also have over here a little bit of grilled peppers, mini peppers. Those are very easy to make. You basically put some spices on it: salt, pepper, parsley, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of oil. You toss it. You can use the exact same recipe that you use on the potatoes. Toss it, put it into the oven on 350 for 15-20 minutes, and you got a gorgeous, beautiful plate.
Wow,
now there's
really
one more thing. There's one more thing that's ready, came out of the oven that I want to show you. I'm going to make it really quick. What we have over here is our salmon is done, and it's out of the oven. And let's see what happened to it.
You think you can dish that out without spilling?
Seriously, my wife is standing right here. She's gonna kill me if I do. She's gonna make me clean it up. Well, let's see. Let's try my luck. I'm breaking it. Okay, I'm really sorry, but this salmon broke over here.
Is that a good sign? Does that mean if it's that tender, it's
That
that
means
it's that soft?
it's nice and soft and delicious. I don't have the right plate for it. So what you do is you put the salmon out. You make sure you take it out better than I did. And you put some of the vegetables on top of it, and that's how you serve it. I mean, actually, it has to come out nice and cleaner, but this is how the salmon comes out, and it's nice and delicious. Now we're
Wow.
gonna go back to Uncle Mike and see where his chicken.
Do you know restaurant prices? A slice of fish like that, and a main dish like that, a piece of meat like that with the potatoes. What kind of meal are we talking about?
A slice of salmon like this is gonna be roughly between $20 and $25, I believe. And main course like this would go for about, what's that, about $30.
Wow, look at that.
And if it's a cheap meat, it'll probably go for about $50 to $60.
Wow. All right, it looks absolutely delicious. Thank you so much. Now, just before we start our diet at the end of Chag, to try to lose a little bit of what we put on over the holiday, we're going to go over to Uncle Mike. Chef is busy there preparing a dessert. Chef, can we get a sneak peek? What do you got there?
Here, hang on 1 second.
I'm with you.
Okay, just trying to catch up because we're having so much fun. We're running into overtime.
We're almost.
And now we are up to one dessert. We're going to make some ice cream. Now, this recipe ice cream I have used for many, many years. Actually, mostly not on Pesach. I use this recipe cooking in camps and yeshivas in bulk at home. My wife has made it and given the recipe out to dozens of people. Very easy, delicious recipe. Another thing that you don't have to just stick with my recipe, which is going to be a vanilla ice cream. You can make chocolate and strawberry and banana and any type of flavor, chocolate chip ice cream, mint chocolate chip, butterscotch, any type of flavor that you like. The base is here. We can also make the ice cream as a pie of ice cream, as a pie. First thing we're going to do is put in 16 ounces of whipped topping. One of, I think, the 8th wonder of the world. Never figured this one out. Whipped topping. And we're going to whip it up. No, this is not a zhuzher. This is called, what's this called? A hand mixer. I'm used to the big ones. Where I usually make that 16 ounce, I usually do 2 buckets at a time of about 50 or 60 pounds. But for the house, we're going to use a little hand mixer. You're going to be noise for a minute. And we're going to whip it up. You can see that. I don't know if you can see it. We're whipping it up. And the nice thing with whipped topping is you just keep whipping it, hold it up, and you're going to get a nice heat. It's going to stiffen up. It'll go from that liquid to a nice stiff consistency. As in the middle, you can see it's starting there to whip up. Yeah, there we go.
Is that what they call a snow?
Good. Another minute or so. It's getting stiffer. Just a little bit more. Let's get it into a nice heat.
While we're doing that, Uncle Mike, can I ask you a question?
Sorry for the boring activity, but this is.
Can you hear me there? Can I ask you a question while you're doing that?
Relatively quickly, we're almost done.
I
I don't know if you can hear me, but it's going pretty quick. It's getting there. Another minute or so. Not even 30 seconds.
Uncle Mike, can you hear me?
Can't hear you. The machine is too loud.
I know. That's why I was waiting for him to answer. Okay.
Okay, now if you take a look, I'm sorry if you couldn't hear me, but now you can see holding it on its side. There we go.
Gorgeous.
Nice and stiff. Now that's the first step. What we're going to do now, according to the recipe, we have 8 eggs, I put into a container, and a cup of sugar. I'm going to mix that just for a minute, just to save a little time. We're going to cream the sugar and eggs together. Not 100% necessary. We mix them up. I pour the eggs and sugar recipe, that mixture, into the bowl. And we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Being I'm not holding a teaspoon, I'm going to rough it. I think it says 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So I'm going to rough it a little bit. And we're going to give it another mix. And believe it or not, here we have, it's now thinner. I'm going to pour it into a container. Little different consistency than the whip itself. However, believe it or not, you put that in the freezer and you're going to have a delicious scoopable consistency ice cream. Just get the last little bit out. And as I was saying before, the wonderful thing with this recipe is you can add whatever you like. You like it chocolatey? You like a chocolate ice cream? I have it in the recipe. Add a couple of tablespoons of cocoa and another tablespoon of sugar. You mix that in, you'll get chocolate ice cream. You want half and half? Well, 16-ounce of whip makes a nice 2-quart. There's a little over than the 2-quart. This is a quart container. You make 2 of these. You pour one in, you have vanilla. You pour the other one in, you can make chocolate. You let it set a little bit. You mix some chocolate chips in there. You like mint chocolate chip. You could buy the little flavorings just like you have a vanilla. They make mint flavor. Don't buy peppermint. Peppermint is a different flavor. You want mint. You could try a banana flavor. You could try a butterscotch flavor. And then you can add the appropriate coloring. A drop. If you're making mint chip, put in some chocolate chips, a little bit of mint flavor, and then a little tiny bit of green food coloring. You mix it in and you'll have that beautiful mint chocolate chip. You can do, like I said, a butterscotch is much harder to do, and that's a unique flavor. Strawberries, buy frozen strawberries, let them thaw out, and put them through a blender so they're smooth, they're a little melted. And you mix that in and a little bit touch of red food coloring, make it pinkish, and you have a strawberry ice cream.
Look at that.
That's my dessert, and I hope everybody had a great time.
Oh, we definitely did.
I think we're back to Moishe Jr.
Well, hold on. Before we go back to the next.
We're not going anywhere.
No. We still have another dessert. But before we leave from you, just a quick question. For going back to your schnitzel recipe, somebody sent in a very good question.
Sure.
If you're reheating it in the oven, or you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna end it off in the oven, how do we keep the schnitzel crispy?
You heat it uncovered at the last few minutes. If you're having a big Suda and you want to have the schnitzel as part of your main course, so certain things that you're going to put in Chef Moishe's roast and the potatoes, you're going to have that in the oven and you're going to heat them up earlier on. It'll be at a nice warm temperature. Then when you're ready to eat, 15, 20 minutes, depending how hot your oven is, before the Suda, all you got to do is take your schnitzel like that, uncovered. If you're nervous about the paper towel, take the paper towel out, although the paper towel won't burn in an oven at 300.
I thought it was parchment paper. It's paper towel? I thought it was parchment paper.
No, that's paper towel because you want
to absorb the oil.
Regular paper towel. And you just heat it. You put it in the oven on an upper shelf, not covered, 10 or 15 minutes before you're ready to serve it. And it'll be hot. It'll be crispy. It'll be delicious.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
My wife was just making a comment. I was saying to undercook it if you want to, bake it later. But if you're baking it right before the meal, whether it's during the week or on Yom Tov, doing it, know how you can cook on Yom Tov if your fire's on already. You cook it all the way. You cook it straight through. You leave it up. You leave it on top of your stove top towards the back so it stays warm and it's ready to eat. Just let it cook an extra minute or so to make sure your inside is nice and rare.
The way
Nice and cooked. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Not rare. By chicken, you can't have rare. Rare chicken is not healthy. Chicken has to be cooked through and through.
Oh, that's an important.
Rare.
Wonderful. I don't know. When my wife makes me cook, I just do rare. It's the easiest. I just put it straight from the package on the plate, and you're done.
That I agree with you.
You say it's not going to work for chicken.
As long as the meat doesn't run away from the plate, is okay. Or if I can't catch it before it gets out the front door, I'll eat it.
You still owe us the trivia.
An answer. Correct. An answer for the question. What are the two things that men cook that they think they're the king of? Number one.
There's one that I can think of.
It's not in any order. But the first answer I have is cholent.
Many
men are the king of the cholent in their house, and they know how to do it. They can't cook anything else. They don't know the difference. But cholent, they make the best. They put in the potatoes with the skin, and they put in the flanken that was in the fridge for 3 weeks. They don't know which one is which one. And they add the ketchup and the honey and the hot dogs and the chicken skins. But they know how to do it. That's number one. Number two is the barbecue. They can't cook in the kitchen. All of a sudden it comes to the barbecue, and they go outside and they got the hot dog, the hamburgers, and the steaks, and they put it on. They have the barbecue turned up to 2,500 or 3,000 degrees. Put the stuff on there. It's sticking to the grill because they didn't season it. The grill, they're scraping it off. It's stuck. They're taking a nice, juicy, delicious burger and smashing it down with the spatula to make sure that all the juices come out. But they think they know it. So those are the two answers the two things that men think they know how to cook, or they try to cook at home more than anything else.
Fantastic. Greatly, greatly appreciated.
My pleasure.
Before we end, we're not ready to end yet. We're going to go back to Chef Moishe. One more dessert. It is Chag. Diets don't count. Pump it in. Just keep going.
Mike, the reason why they come out with all kind of degreasers for a grill is for that reason, because men do it. And by the way, Rabbi Forster, do we still have the video up from Uncle Mike's channel from years and years ago? Uncle Mike's secret recipe for the channel on YouTube?
It's on one of the schmorgs, yes.
Yeah, we gotta find it.
I believe it is. You know what? I shouldn't say that so fast. I should double check that first.
Yeah, we should check. Send it on social media.
You got it.
Remember that. You see, I'm not that long with Oorah and I know about it. Okay, so we got, first of all, this is my son. You see, I'm holding my son. Why am I holding my son? Because I'm not going to do that dessert. This brownie, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, you're going to have him do it?
We found the recipe on, it was betweencarpool.com. They have an Instagram as well. And it's basically a brownie that is done in the pan. The only thing they're going to make dirty is a fork and a measuring cup. So I'm going to have my daughter, Zeldy, which is a stab brat. Everybody knows that. She said she's not, but she is. And she will do the brownie. I'm just going to watch how she does it. Zeldy, get to work.
Okay, so first you're going to put in the eggs, 4 eggs. And you're going to just put it into the pan.
She's doing it better than me.
Then you're going to put in the oil. It is 1 cup oil. Then this is optional. It is the ground nuts. You can put any type of ground nuts you want. Then there is a 1/2 cup of cocoa. One and a half cup sugar. And 3/4 cups potato starch. Then you just mix it until it is runny and, well, more like a doughy, but not too doughy.
Nice. Is this your real father's?
What?
Is this really your father's recipe?
No, that's what I said. It's not my recipe. The recipe
Not yours?
from betweencarpool.com.
I was hoping you weren't listening.
Oh. Okay, I think the consistency looks good.
Nope.
Okay, she says it's not good yet.
It has to be mixed until it's really smooth.
Could this be done with the mixer, or you have to do this by hand?
You could do it by mixer, but it turns out like the mixer is really hard to clean, and you have to clean it while you mix it. So, okay, it's done.
Wow, you sound like you're really concerned about the cleaning. Who washes dishes in
Yeah,
your house? Oh,
That's a deal.
I don't know.
Yo,
Kids don't seem to have that problem.
Now we're just gonna put it on 350 into the oven. For how long, Zoe?
For 45 minutes. It's up. It's depends which oven it is, and
How hot
It-
the oven gets.
yeah, no.
How hot the oven gets, but it's about 45 minutes to an hour. But what we have over here as well, the magic wand, Zoe, present your cake.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to decorate it. Okay, you can make a glaze. It is out of cocoa, a drop of orange juice, and confection sugar. I'm gonna put a drop on the top so it pours down the sides.
This is for a chocolate glaze.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and if we wanted to do a vanilla glaze, would the ingredients be much different?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it will. It's gonna be chocolate.
But instead of the chocolate, you'll put vanilla.
You leave out the cocoa. You could just do confectionery sugar in the water without the cocoa.
Oh, so you don't have to substitute the cocoa for anything?
No, just confectionery sugar and water will make you a nice fondant glaze on top.
Wow, they're really nice.
Then you can just put the strawberries, like,
Beautiful.
Good.
just on the two sides, and a
Wow, gorgeous.
Is this the kind of cake that also gets served with ice cream?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
there a rule to that? What kind of cake goes with ice cream?
brownie.
Brownie.
It's a
This will go with Uncle Mike's brownie.
I'll trade you a quart.
Ice-
Ice cream.
I'll trade you a quart of ice cream for that piece of cake right there.
Whoa! Who said we have to trade? Why can't we get the best of both worlds?
I have an extra quart.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Uncle Mike. Thank you so much, Chef Moishe. You guys have been fantastic. Once again, for anybody who wanted recipes, you can prep at Oorah.org. You can do that. Doesn't even have to be right now. You can do it later today or tomorrow, and we'll either get you those recipes by email, or they will be available on social media. They probably are already on, except that I'm busy here with the show, so I can't even tell if they're on yet. But they're probably already on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, on any of the pages that you're familiar with. So on a busy Chalamoid, when everybody has so much to do, you guys took out time to help us prepare Chag and make the holidays so much more enjoyable. We wish you a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, and you should have a wonderful Yantif for your families in your homes, and to the 275 people that are tuned in, and to all those who already logged out, who were on, who are perhaps new, we wish you a Chag Sameach. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and keep in touch. Those of you who aren't signed up yet for the Zone summer camps, please do so now. If you have not yet signed up for a Torah mate, you waited way too long. You waited way too long. TorahMates.org is the place to go now, before it's too late. Don't wait till after Chag. Do it today. You won't be sorry. Chag Sameach, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi Forster. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
You're very welcome. Chag Sameach.